Yeah, welcome back to the continued discussion on the types of contract. In our previous session, we had completed based on validity and enforceability. Now, what we will do is the other two aspects quickly we'll run through. It will not take much time. One is based on formation of a contract. It is either an express contract, means what? A contract which is either written or orally spoken. That means there should be a document, or when both the parties have spoken, both should agree to the terms and conditions, then we can call it as express contract. It is expressed in a form. What is implied contracts? We have already discussed this earlier. Implied contracts or tacit contract for that matter, you are signifying certain acts which convinces the other party that you have done an acceptance. The example of getting into the bus, giving your shoe to the cobbler for polish, all these are implied contracts in nature. Are we clear on this? Next, quasi-contracts I would like to spend some time. It's an independent chapter by itself, though I would like to discuss on only the brief points of it, because when we go to quasi-contracts, we will go in depth and understand the different terminologies used over. Quasi-contracts are those contracts where it looks like a contract, but it is exactly not a contract. In sense, there would not have been a spoken or written words, or there would not be something implied in nature. It resembles like a contract, but not exactly a contract. Sir, can you give an example for it? Yes. Let's say you have lost your purse on the way, probably when you are driving or you are walking, you lost a purse. Somebody found the purse and he took the pain of coming and delivering the purse to you. He was not legally bound to do it. He's come and delivered the purse to you and he's asking, please give me auto charges because I have taken the pain of coming all the way from this place to your place to hand over your purse. You are bound to give that auto charges at least. There is no legal contract here. You might tell, hey, who the hell are you? Did I ask you to get the person delivered to me? You can tell all those things. But quasi-contracts are those contracts which is basically coming out of principles of natural justice and equity. You should not cheat the other person. He's taken pain and effort to come and give it to you. He's asking what? He's not asking 10,000, 15,000. He's asking whatever normal auto charges that he's incurred, you need to pay him. And that is basically a quasi-contract. Some people call it as quasi-contract, some people call it as quasi-contract. So basically you will see quasi-contract and its depthness in last part of Contract Act. We will deal with that at that point of time. Yes, any doubt?
It is not backed by the law.
It is backed by the law. It is backed by the law, not on the concept of contract written or spoken. It is backed by the law on the concept of principles of natural justice. What is the court observing? Let's say you are the person who found the person, gave it to me. I litigated the matter telling that, did I ask you? There was no offer. There is no acceptance. So there is no agreement. No agreement, therefore no contract. If I say that, you will go to the court telling that, listen, I found this purse, though I was not under a legal obligation to send it or give it. I have taken the pain of going and giving it to him, and I am only asking for the charges. Court will tell, Loik, you have to give charges on the principles of natural justice coming under quasi-contract. Are we clear on this? Sure? Fantastic. Next, e-commerce contracts. E-commerce contracts are basically digital contracts where you send your contracts through emails or internet facility or intranet facility. Basically a digital concept where you will not be signing physically, you will be signing with your digital signature. You can obtain a digital signature in sense there are different portals, websites. If you submit your Aadhaar card and PAN card with video recording stating that I so and so would like to have a digital signature certificate, the company will allot a digital signature certificate for a document which is written in terms of words in a A4 sheet instead of A4 sheet. If it is a PDF, on PDF, if I digitally sign it, then it is still a valid document because I may not have physically signed it. I have used my digital signature to sign it. Are we clear on this? Yes. Yeah, in continuation of e-commerce contracts, what I would like to mention is have you guys subscribed to any of the apps? Your WhatsApp, Instagram, yes? Then Facebook. All these are digital contracts only. When you log in, when you download the app, they will ask you details. You mention those details and they will ask you with one last word called accept terms and conditions. If you accept the terms and conditions, it means you have signed the document and there is no necessity to tell, I have physically not signed, this is not my signature. So those are the cases where it gets covered under e-commerce contract. As a further extension, once you order something like, let's say in a Flipkart or Amazon, you ordered something, you click the product, you might take it as cash on delivery or you might have paid for it earlier. It is already a contract because you are engaged in the activity of signing in the form of accepting the terms and conditions. Second, you have clicked on pay button and it has taken you to the internet banking or UPI and you have made the payment or you have chosen cash on delivery. Since you have accepted the terms and conditions, it becomes an e-commerce contract. Understood what I said? Are we clear on this? Yes. Moving forward, what is that we can discuss on based on performance? Contracts based on performance means either it is an executed contract or it is an executory contract. What do you mean by this, sir? Contracts where both the parties have completed their respective terms and conditions and performed the respective promises, then we say it is an executed, it is already over. For example, if A says, I am ready to sell my car at 5 lakh rupees, and if B says, I am ready to purchase your car at 5 lakh rupees, terms and conditions established, A delivers a car, B delivers the money, then we say it is an executed contract. Understood executed contract? Now what is executory contract? It says it could be a unilateral contract or a bilateral contract. What do you mean by this? Just a second. So, in executory, the word executory means you are yet to execute it. You are yet to perform your share of obligations. You are yet to perform your share of promises. In such scenario, either it is unilateral contracts or bilateral contracts. What do you mean by unilateral contracts? Where both the parties, one of the party is already executed it and the other party is yet to execute his share of promises, then we call it as unilateral contract. In my example, if A has delivered the car to B and B is yet to make the payment, let's say he's told I'll give you 1 month later, till he makes the payment, then it will be unilateral contract on behalf of B. B is yet to make the payment, right? It is still pending. His share of promises is yet to be done and then we can call it as unilateral contract. What is bilateral contract? Obviously, both the parties to the contract are yet to execute their share of promises, then we call it as bilateral contract. For example, if Mr. A is yet to deliver the car and Mr. B is yet to deliver the money, understanding between both of them is A says I am ready to sell my car at 5 lakh rupees next month 10th day. B says I am ready to purchase the car and pay you whatever the amount 5 lakh rupees on 10th of next month. Contract is already established. Offer acceptance agreement is done. It is supported by law. It is a contract, but we call it as executory in nature, precisely bilateral contracts. Are we clear on all these points? Yes. Now the last bit of this chapter is basically I wouldn't touch it here. I would like to do it as independent chapters. Though it is an independent chapter, it makes sense for me to cover all those points here itself. Just give me a minute. I will take it down. I will write it down. Please ensure that you also write it down. Right? Take down quickly. essentials of a valid contract. Essentials of a valid contract. This is nothing but summary of what we have done. First, there should be an offer. Second, there should be an acceptance. Third, obviously, offer plus acceptance equals to agreement. Now, an agreement supported by law becomes a contract. Okay? What do you mean by supported? Supported by law means it has to satisfy all these following conditions. First one, free consent of the parties. Free consent of the parties should be obtained, which means it should not be obtained through. Free consent of the parties should be obtained means what? It should not be obtained through A, coercion, B, undue influence, C, it should not have been obtained through fraud. D, it should not have been obtained through misrepresentation. And lastly, E, it should not be by way of a mistake. What are all these things? Independently we will deal with it. So whenever free consent has to be obtained, we should ensure that the consent has not been obtained by way of coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, mistake. If it is obtained through any of these five, then we say consent is not free, therefore we will not support such agreement, and therefore even if you go to court, you will not get justice out of it. Clear? Next. Capacity to contract. That means the persons entering into a contract should be capable of entering into a contract, which means they should not be a minor, they should not be a minor, B, unsound mind, C, persons disqualified by law. So when the contract states that the capacity to enter into contract should be there, which means negatively they are trying to tell the contract should not be made by the minor, the contract should not be made by an unsound person, the contract should not be made by a person disqualified by law. Understanding? Next. Object, lawful objects. The object means the purpose of the contract should be lawful. You cannot enter into a contract telling that I give you 10 lakh rupees check, you sell me tiger skin. The object itself is lawful, which means you are trying to kill another tiger, which goes against Wildlife Sanctuaries Act, which again is unlawful. Are you all understanding it? Detailed aspects of it when we go to the chapter we will deal with it. And lastly, lawful consideration. Lawful consideration means the monetary terms which you enter into should be on legal manner. That means accepted monetary terms. In today's world, we are in Bitcoins transaction. Understanding what I am saying? You have heard about Bitcoins? What government of India is saying is Bitcoin is an unregulated currency asset. It's an unregulated currency asset. If you want to enter into transaction, you enter. But tomorrow, if you get cheated, don't come to me. Don't come to the court. Whereas, if instead of investing in Bitcoins, if I invest in shares, then it is a regulated market. So the consideration, money's worth should be in legal tender. Legal tender means what? If you are entering into a transaction here, I am selling my car, you are buying the car, you are giving me in cash or check or DD or RTGS or NEFT or whatever it is acceptable. Consideration should be lawful. It should not be a case where I sell, I'll give you 5 lakh rupees, you sell the girl. Understanding? It's human trafficking over there. It can get covered under lawful object and it can get objected under lawful consideration. Whatever is legal consideration, only those things has to be entered in. Quid pro quo is one word or legal words that we will be discussing later on. Once we enter into such things, we will deal with it. So the next session that I will be discussing will be on free consent and capacity to contract. This two I will take it as one single session and the last two I will take it as other session. After doing this, everything will fall into place and then the execution of the transaction has to happen. The chapter called performance of contract will come into play, and after that, in spite of all these things, if you don't perform, the next chapter, linked chapter, will be breach of performance. Breach means you are not doing it. In spite of all these things, you are still not doing it. Therefore, breach of performance leads to the last chapter called remedies to breach of contract. What is remedies? If you don't go to court, claim compensation, claim damages, there are a lot of things, liquidated damages, okay, vindictive damages, all those things we will see in due course of time. Right? Thank you very much for your patience hearing. We'll meet in the next session. Thank you.